Welcome to the VMblog 2021 Mega Series. Today we have with us Orest Lesyuk, who is the Solutions Engineer at StarWind. And today we're going to be covering the topic of storage, and I understand you have expertise in that, so we'd love to hear from you.
Exactly. Thank you, and nice to meet you, gentlemen. So let me first quickly introduce myself and give a small background about the StarWind company. Once again, my name is Orest. I'm a solution architect at StarWind Software. So primarily working with introducing, architecting the infrastructures for our customers. And behind the StarWind company, so StarWind company was founded in 2008. It started its way as the virtualization pioneer with its main product of a software-defined storage solution known as StarWind iSCSI SAN, which now has transformed into the known StarWind Virtual SAN. Now, throughout the years, we have developed and, of course, increased our product portfolio for the both paid and various free software product offerings, as well as the hardware appliances, and with our key product being StarWind Hyperconverged appliance.
And as we're here today to talk about storage and dive into that topic, I guess one of the things I'd like to just kind of launch right into is ask you about your expertise, opinion on with public cloud vendors now offering inexpensive storage to customers. Why should companies consider on-premises object storage?
Yeah, that's the good question. And it's all mostly about the data security, privacy, and control. So no doubt, public cloud storage, especially object storage, is a very decent and a very popular option, especially when it comes to archival purposes. And definitely, public cloud storage providers ensure the internal security mechanisms, as well as allowing the various forms of user access control for the clients, encryption at rest and on transfer. But the thing is that it's still mostly relied on the public cloud provider. So you do not have the 100% control of the security measures and on your data privacy. Now, one can argue where security can be better in the private cloud, in the on-premises environment, or in the public cloud space, since the typically large public cloud storage providers have a lot of expertise in this space. But the thing is, some of people and some of companies still like to have full control over their security mechanisms. This, of course, depends on the expertise, on the competences, as well as proper tools and staff training. But as a matter of fact, you have 100% control over your on-premises environment. And in some cases, this indeed might be a critical thing that is pushing some of the companies to go for the on-premises object storage instead of going to the public space.
What are some of the current challenges that are driving these strategic decisions about their data storage?
So there are several factors here, actually. The first thing is that companies and people should not center around the storage concept itself. On the other hand, they should focus on the applications and services that would drive their business forward and increase the business effectiveness and the income correspondingly. Now, with that being said as the primarily target, storage moves to the second place. And the challenge here is to find a vendor that has enough of the expertise and knowledge to deliver and provide a proper storage system that would just power the applications. In this case, the storage infrastructure becomes basically invisible for the customer and allows them focusing on growing their business. Basically, when you're driving a good race car, you rarely do focus on the transmission functioning or on the engine. You're just focusing on the process and, of course, on the destination point. And that's what the key challenge is. finding a proper vendor that could take all the expertise on its shoulders and provide the proper invisible storage infrastructure that will power the customer's business.
Now, even in 2021, we're still talking about COVID. So, we've all been negatively affected by the COVID crisis. How has it changed your company, your business, and your technology?
Well, definitely it has changed our company and our internal processes, but we managed to go over this and gain even more expertise in this field, which allowed us not only not to suffer from the consequences and from sort of the internal transitions, but also help our customers transform their data centers. And as from the business perspective, there were two key factors, two key things I wanted to point out. The first one was that actually a lot of companies, a lot of businesses have moved to private cloud deployments to enable remote working for the staff. And the second thing is moving to the public cloud. Now, in both of these cases, actually, the need in high availability and hyperconvergence remained, since building a private cloud required a high availability to deliver the uptime for all the applications and services. And on the other hand, when companies were moving to the public cloud space, most part of the hardware infrastructure they had became simply unnecessary. And it was necessary to keep powering on and maintaining all that hardware. So they started shifting to the hyperconverged deployments, which are more compact, require less power, and of course, lower hardware footprint. So I would say that in this situation, in the view of the COVID-19, actually the demand for both high availability and for hyperconvergence even increased. It became even more demanded. And from the technology perspective, from the StarWind point of view, high availability remained a required concept and a required technology in both on-premises and public cloud environments.
Now, we've talked a lot about various solutions that you have, but what are some of the specific problems that are being solved by your solutions?
Now, our company and our solutions focus on two main problems we see. So the first problem is business process interruption. Nowadays, and it's not a secret, that most of the business processes directly depend on the application and services uptime. So the downtime of the applications, if they fail and become unavailable, directly influences your business continuity and directly influences the income of your company. Now, implementing high availability costs significantly less than tolerating the downtime. So that's our first and core problem we are always trying to resolve, to provide the uptime for applications and services, and as a result, ensure uninterrupted business processes. The second problem which we try to resolve with our StarWind Hyperconverged appliance is the complexity when integrating the hyperconvergence and high availability into the IT infrastructure. Now, if companies decide to go on their own, they need to find the proper hardware. They need to make sure it works all well together. They need to pick the proper software components and again, make sure that things work and work optimally. Now, this is often a challenging and very time-consuming process that requires a high expertise and, of course, high resources. So StarWind HCA, on the other hand, is a turnkey solution that is fully pre-configured as per customer requirements. So basically, integration it into the existing or in a new IT infrastructure becomes a seamless process. And moreover, we assist with all the integration and migration processes for migrating the workloads to the StarWind HCA. And in this case, from the company, from the business perspective, you receive the ready solution without requiring any expertise or any specific knowledge, and you do not waste your precious time and efforts for finding the proper hardware and making things work perfect together, which you get with the StarWind Hyperconverged appliance.
And then, based on your expertise, what's the best fit for hyperconverged and converged infrastructures?
Well, these have quite different use cases. Now, let me start with the converged infrastructure. So converged infrastructure becomes a perfect fit for large environments, for large enterprises with high storage capacity requirements and a need to separately scale compute and storage resources. Now, that's the big benefit behind the converged infrastructure. Once you set it up, adding more compute or storage nodes becomes quite a seamless process. And on the other hand, when deploying converged infrastructure, you do not really focus on the hardware footprint and on the power consumptions, because these are two aspects that do not go very well together with the converged approach. So on the other hand, there is hyperconvergence, and it becomes exactly a good fit for small to medium storage size requirements, and where there is a need to have a compact hardware footprint and minimalistic power consumption. So the best field for the hyperconvergence is the small to medium businesses and remote offices and branch office deployments, where hardware footprint and space is the key factor, as well as minimalistic expenses on the IT infrastructure administration and maintenance.
And where would you say, if you had a crystal ball and could see into the future, what is the future of both hyperconverged and converged infrastructures?
Well, definitely both converged and hyperconverged infrastructures are here to stay for a long, long time, as they have their separate use cases. But they have one thing in common, and in the future perspective, they will be adopting NVMe as the main storage medium and NVMe over Fabric as the main access protocol. Now, these are the technologies that might seem from the first point might seem as something distant and something that is coming in a very distant future, but in fact, some of the vendors are already implementing and adopting these technologies. And these are the technologies that allow to make maximum use for the applications and services in terms of the performance. So it's not already a matter of time, since if we will check various forums, we will see that a lot of actually companies are already trying to find a way how to utilize NVMe storage with the maximum potential, and not just even in the production scenarios, but even in the home lab deployments, which actually points us to the conclusion that NVMe and NVMe OF will be the technology that will be driving the future of both converged and hyperconverged infrastructures.
And then finally, do you have a demo or anything that you can show our audience today?
Oh yeah, definitely. We'd love to share basically how our hyperconverged appliance looks to provide the understanding of our solutions.
That'd be great.
So what we have here today for the demo is the common deployment of StarWind Hyperconverged appliance in the Hyper-V environment. As you can see, we already have the failover cluster consisting of 2 Hyper-V nodes. We already have the highly available storage in form of the HA witness disk and quorum and the cluster shared volume itself. And of course, some of our demonstration virtual machines running. Now, this is the infrastructure, and these are the tools that actually our customers work with. The magic behind StarWind is that it is invisible and it works on the background, providing highly available storage with active-active replication. Now, the first tool to start working with StarWind is the management console. Now, if we check it out, we will see that we have our two Hyper-V nodes already connected and the corresponding two HA devices created and replicated. So we can see the witness disk, which is synchronized on both sides, and the cluster shard volume, also synchronized on both sides. And these are the devices we have previously seen in the failover cluster. Now, once again, this is not something you would need to administrate on a daily basis, and that's what we call a configure once and forget solution, since it's just working on the background. And StarWind provides the ability to withstand a node failure without having to install any additional components, and even to make all the process even more simple for companies and for our customers, we provide the additional single pane of glass monitoring and management tool, which is our StarWind Command Center. Now, it provides us the ability to monitor the entire infrastructure in terms of the CPU usage, RAM utilization, and of course, storage utilization. It provides detailed metrics also as per individual virtual machines. And not only that it provides the ability to monitor, which is of course of the great value and of great significance for any system administrator, but also allows us to actually manage the Hyper-V infrastructure and the Hyper-V cluster. So we can easily create new virtual machines, added the settings of the existing VMs, clone them, perform the power operations, migrate the VMs between the nodes, and basically perform any daily tasks you have to do in a single console instead of having to deal with various components such as failover cluster manager, Hyper-V manager, and maybe sometimes the StarWind management console. So this gives the great simplicity and convenience in terms of the daily administration of the Hyper-V infrastructure with StarWind Hyperconverged appliance.
Well, that's great. I appreciate that demo and giving us a look into the product. Before we wrap things up, just follow one last question. Where can viewers go if they want to learn more about all of the different things that you've discussed with us today?
We actually have a great resource, which is StarWind Software blog, where we have a lot of various experts in different fields, as well as in setting up private and public clouds, for example, migrating on-premises environments to public clouds, or even building the hybrid environments. So that would be the first point to go to get more experience and learn about best practices for various cloud computing deployments.
Great. Well, once again, I want to thank you for joining us today on VMblog's Mega Series, and we appreciate all the information that you've shared with viewers today.
And thank you, gentlemen, for giving us this opportunity. It was a pleasure, and I just want to wish everyone to stay healthy and to take care, and everyone to have a good luck.
And you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more from our cloud technology partners, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to get notified next time we post a video, please hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Very important.